Am I the asshole for sabotaging my brother's wedding? My brother and his fiance, they've been together for 4 years and engaged for 6 months. I hate her. I hate her so much. She is the most entitled woman I've ever met, and she thinks that she deserves everything. Her parents are super rich. Now, my family isn't poor, but we're definitely not as rich as her. She demands that my brother pay for everything. Like all of their rent, all of their car payments, every single thing. My brother doesn't make a lot of money, and this stresses him out a lot. Her dad offered to give my brother money so that he could basically pay for everything while she thinks that my brother actually paid for it. Even her parents know how terrible she is. She's also extremely jealous. She barely lets my brother do anything, and he's basically shut out all of his friends just to not make her angry if he wants to go out with them. This is the worst part. I walked in on her and her friends talking crap about my brother. They were all a little bit tipsy, so she wasn't measuring what she was saying. Even when I came into the room, she still kept talking trash about him. Being the good sister that I am, I grabbed her drink and threw it in her face. Now my brother's not really talking to me. After I threw the drink in her face, my brother stopped talking to me. He finally heard me out, and I told him everything I thought about her. And when I told him that she was talking trash behind his back, he told me that she does that all the time with her friends, and that it's just a way for her to vent. I explained to him that she should have nothing but good things to say about him. She doesn't sound like she loves him when she talks about him. By the way, she was telling her friends that my brother is basically a good for nothing, and that he didn't earn enough money for her to actually live a good life with him. Because of this, I started sabotaging the wedding in small little ways. For example, I know exactly what dress she wanted, so I called the store and ordered all of them. They're currently out of stock. She went berserk. My brother had to calm her down for like an hour. When I finally apologized for throwing the drink in her face, she asked me to help with the wedding. So she gave me the job of sending invitations. So I decided not to send any to her family. When she asked me about it, I told her I sent all the invitations, that they probably got lost in the mail. We all went out to dinner that night with her family in mind. She threw a whole tantrum at the restaurant. She was demanding attention. And of course, everyone was comforting her. She's a total bridezilla. Even her best friend told me that she can't stand her anymore. She also told me I couldn't invite any of my friends because we're all too artsy. Now I need your help to come up with more sabotages, because it's actually working. My brother is finally getting sick of her. He told my parents he's not sure he wants to marry her anymore. My hope is that they break up soon. I just want my brother to be happy. What do you think I should do?
I own a vape shop. We're a small business with only 12 employees. One of my employees, Peggy, was supposed to open yesterday. I recently promoted Peggy to manager after 2 solid years of good work as cashier. I really thought that she could handle the responsibility. So I wake up 3 hours after the place should have been open, and I have 22 notifications on the store Facebook page. Customers have been trying to come to the shop, but the store is closed. Employees are showing up to work, but they're locked out. I call Peggy and get no response. I text her and same thing. So I go in and open the store. An hour before her shift was supposed to be over, she calls me back. I ask her if she's okay, and she says she needed to take a mental health day and do some self-care. I'm still pretty pissed at this point, but I'm trying to be understanding, as I know how important mental health can be. So I ask her why she didn't call me as soon as she knew that she needed the day off. Her response, I didn't have enough spoons in my drawer for that. Frankly, I don't know what that means, but it seems to me like she's saying that she cannot be trusted to handle the responsibility of opening the store in the morning. So I told her that she has 2 choices. Either go back to her old position with her old pay, or I fire her completely. She's calling me all sorts of ists now and says that I'm discriminating against her due to her poor mental health and her gender. None of this would have been a problem if she simply took 2 minutes to call out. I would have gotten up and opened the store on time. But this no-call, no-show shit is not the way to run a successful business. I think I might be the asshole here because I am taking away her promotion over something she really had no control over. But at the same time, she really could have called me. Am I the asshole for telling an employee that she can choose between demotion or termination? Peggy reached out to me yesterday and apologized and asked if we could meet for lunch. We met up, and the first thing she did was apologize again for the no-call, no-show, and also for her reaction to my response. She admitted that she knows I'm not sexist or ableist, and explained that she was lashing out due to her mental state. I accepted her apology and offered her one of my own, both for giving too much responsibility too quickly and also for reacting out of emotion. She explained to me that she had a major issue on Monday, and without getting into too much detail, I'll just say that it was an anniversary of a bad thing. She's taking all of her accumulated PTO, 9 weeks, and we've agreed that going forward, I'm not going to put her on the schedule on that day ever again. She's admitted that she's not up to the role of manager. When she returns, she'll be in the role of lead cashier, a role I created specifically for her. This way, she can keep her raise and not feel like she got a demotion, but rather a lateral transfer. I've also let her know that if she ever feels like she's up to more responsibility, she can let me know and I'll put her right back on track for the manager spot. Also, I let her know that if she's ever in a position where she's not able to call out, she can simply text me a thumbs out emoji and I will accept that as a notice that she'll be missing her next shift. She agreed that will be okay even when she's out of spoons. Hopefully we can both move forward from this unfortunate incident and end up better for it.
Am I the asshole for hiding the soda? I feel ridiculous for even posting this, but I need objective eyes on this. Background: 1 husband, 2 stepkids, 15 male, 17 male. Married 5 years. We keep separate financial accounts if that makes a difference, and we alternate who buys groceries week to week. Anyways, here's the deal. I don't drink coffee. I drink Mountain Dew or the occasional energy drink for my morning caffeine kick. My husband and the oldest stepson are both coffee drinkers. With increasing frequency, I'll go to grab a drink out of the fridge and all of the soda and energy drinks are gone. The kids have taken to coming home and grabbing 2 to 3 or more sodas. And before they left for their mom's house last week, the 15-year-old was actually packing a 6-pack into his backpack to go. The obvious solution, I thought, was to buy more soda. Yes, I know it's awful for the kids, but if their dad isn't stopping them from sucking down junk food, it's not my deal to intervene. Good point for you. Yes, you are correct. Nope, still gone to where I look for the fridge for one single much-needed energy boost and nada. So I started asking my husband to pick up soda or a few energy drinks on his grocery shopping week to supplement. His response was that he's not wasting money on garbage like that and to complain about how expensive things like Mountain Dew are these days. Then tell your kids to stop drinking hers. Simple. Like, okay, you don't buy it, fine, don't buy it, but tell your kids not to take your wife's shit. Next tactic was to ask that if the kids drink the soda, that they please leave a few behind if it's obvious we're almost out, so I have at least 1 or 2 when I go to grab one. This is where things took a turn for the worse. My husband got irritated and said that I was policing the food and that no one who lives here should have to ask permission to eat or drink. Really, dude? You gonna pull that shit? Ugh. Fine. I figured if I wanted to have a Mountain Dew or energy drink for myself, I would just put a little mini fridge in my office and stash a few in there. I got a tiny fridge that holds a 6-pack and pops a few in there. I put the cases I buy in my office and put a week's worth in the main fridge at a time so they last until I shop again. Okay, so you're putting some, like 6 in your own little fridge and you're still putting a pack in the big fridge. Yesterday, the 15-year-old complained that there hadn't been Mountain Dew in the fridge for a few days, and my husband grumpily said, "Go get them from your stepmom's office. She's hiding food and snacks from you guys in there." What a piece of shit. At this point, I put my foot down and said I'm hanging on to some of the drinks that I like every week because otherwise I don't get any. And if everyone else drank what I put in the fridge for them before I shopped again and my husband didn't want to buy any himself, that's just too bad. My husband still refuses to buy the soda himself, but is convinced I'm being a complete and total jerk because I'm hiding what I purchase. Am I being completely oblivious to my own asshole behavior here, or is this as lopsided as I think it is? Nah, your husband's psycho. What the heck? He's not wasting money on garbage, but he's perfectly happy for you to spend your money and not even drink your own soda. So, nah, get out of here.
I, 28, and my husband, 29, have been married for 5 years. My husband was a nurse until he told me that he wanted to become a doctor. I was fully supportive, and he is now in his first year of medical school. I've been supporting the both of us as he can't work while in school, but recently found out our rent was being raised by $500 at the end of our contract in April. This was honestly the last straw as it pushed us past where we were financially comfortable, so I raised the idea of us buying a home. This had been in conversation for years, but my husband had always said that we could after he paid off his school debt from nursing, which was paid off early in 2020. I asked my mother, a real estate agent, who told me that with what we would be paying, it would be better for the money to go towards mortgage repayments and not rent. I brought all of this up to my husband, who shut it down almost immediately. He told me our agreement was to wait until he had paid off all of his debt. I told him that was for nursing and that he was in school for 6 years, which was hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of debt, and some doctors don't pay off their debt until 20 plus years. I told him I had been supportive of this career change and by financially supporting the household, but it was the best financial decision for both of us, but also relieved the financial burden for me. I brought up the savings we had for our deposit and how we could afford something small and modest within the budget, but he told me it was in our best interest to use that money to pay off his loans. I asked him if he realized the financial burden this would put on me, but he said it was temporary and eventually he'd make more than me, so it would be even, and I agreed to this. My mother called and asked if we were going to look into buying a house, but I told her that we weren't and we'd be looking for somewhere cheaper to rent instead. She insisted we at least consider it because it made the most financial sense and asked if it was because we didn't have the down deposit. I told her that we were probably going to use that to pay off my husband's debt and he didn't want any more debt until he was debt free from his student loans. Days later, my mother and father came to lunch and told us that they had news. They offered to gift us the down deposit of a home. I was over the moon and shocked by the offer. Once they left, my husband exploded on me, claiming I emasculated him and made him look bad in front of my parents. I told him I never asked for this, but we should take it as it was a privilege most people don't get and it would relieve so much financial burden on me. He refused to talk to me or my parents until we apologized for shaming and emasculating him, but I refused to. I apologized but told him that I wouldn't make my parents as they'd done nothing wrong. Am I the asshole for emasculating my husband and refusing to make my parents apologize for it?
Am I the asshole for telling my coworker my partner is not her child's father? Disclaimer, this is not my story. I'm a 29 male, my partner is a 25 male, and my coworker is a 22 female. My coworker, who I'll call Tiffany, is one of those likable but flaky people. She's nice, but she's a bit of an airhead. Tiffany got unexpectedly pregnant a year before we started working together, and the father's not involved. I know this because she tends to make vent posts on social media that are open to anyone who's following her. She posts a lot about issues with her kid because her kid has a disability. My partner loves kids. He's a social worker, and he raised his siblings growing up. I think his ideal family would be the Brady Bunch. I don't want kids, so we compromised by getting a dog. He saw one of her posts about 3 years ago and DM'd her telling her that he's helped kids with her kid's disability and he'd be happy to give her some advice. Since then, he's been very involved with her and her kid's life. Pre-quarantine, he would go over there all the time and help out and stay on the phone with her when she was having a crisis. I never had any problem with it because her kid has a lot of issues and I know Tiffany was drowning in it. I want to say I've never been jealous at all because although my partner also likes women, he's bisexual. He's just like this. Anyway, during quarantine, the relationship started annoying me more. Tiffany and her kid will FaceTime my partner while we're watching a movie so he can tell the kid a bedtime story. He'll tell me that he misses seeing Tiffany and the kid because they're like family to him. When we finally went back to work yesterday, Tiffany told me how much her child misses my partner and how all the things he's been doing for them have been really getting them through the hard times. I agreed that what my partner was doing nice, but then I told her that if her kid misses him, the relationship is starting to get unhealthy. My partner is not your child's father, and he shouldn't be taking the place in their life. I told my partner, and he said that I was being a dick. He said that the kid could only benefit from having a good male role model, and if the kid sees him as a father figure, there's nothing wrong with that. He also apologized to Tiffany. I don't really see where what I did was wrong. Creating boundaries is important. Am I the asshole?
Am I the asshole for insisting that my boyfriend pay me for breaking my $3,500 model ship? The word is ship. My female 33 dad passed away and left me one of his last and favorite ship models. I had it on display in my living room, but for some reason I never actually mentioned it to my boyfriend, male 37 of 6 months. Maybe because we don't live together and he doesn't visit often. The other day, he and his friends came over to my place to celebrate his birthday. They got drunk and started throwing the sofa pillows at each other. I told them to stop, then went into the kitchen to clean up. I then started hearing a loud noise. I walked out the kitchen and saw my model ship in my boyfriend's hands. I rushed to get it, but he passed it on to his friend, and then his friend passed it on to another friend. I started running around trying to catch it while yelling at them to stop. Then my boyfriend grabbed it again. I was so angry. I told him to hand it over, but he said I needed to kiss him first. I yelled at him and he tried to throw it to his friend who tried to catch it but missed, and it hit the wall and it broke. I lost it. I kicked all of his friends out, then had a fight with him, telling him this was a sentimental item from my dad and demanded that he pay me $3,500 because this is how much it costs. He left, then called in the morning asking if I was serious about wanting him to pay $3,500, and I said I was dead serious. He started making excuses, saying he was drunk, and also I never told him about this ship and how important it was for me before, both monetarily and sentimentally, so that's on me. We had another fight and then I hung up upon telling him I'm expecting the $3,500 and that I wasn't afraid to take legal route if I have to. He kept texting me to let it go and saying it was cruel of me to threaten him with the law. He had his friends apologize, thinking this would be it, but I insisted that he pays me. I get it that I might have worked up over an item and treated my boyfriend badly, but to me, it seemed a little reckless on his part. So, am I the asshole for insisting that my boyfriend pay me for breaking my $3,500 model ship? I just want to, oh my gosh, I can't talk. Oh my gosh. I just wanted to apologize for stuttering. I trip over my words sometimes and I really try my best, but I just wanted to apologize for stumbling over my words. Is this person am I the asshole for sitting back and doing nothing when mom told my wife that she would take us to court for grandparents' rights? This situation is a bit of a mess. I'll just mention the relevant conflict at hand. So my wife Liz and I have been married for 7 years. We have preschool-aged kids, and because we currently live in the same city as my parents, mom would take the kids while my wife and I work. Liz is the one with a much larger income. She got an even better job opportunity that is requiring us to move to another city. I agreed since I could easily find a job in my field in the city we're moving to. But after my family heard we were selling the house to move, all hell broke loose. Sunday, my mom and Liz got into a huge fight because Liz told mom we'll move away and hire a babysitter for the kids, so she's no longer needed. Mom said she doesn't want her grandkids moving away. Even said we should let the kids live at her house while we move. Liz laughed at her and mom lost it, basically saying that Liz was an ungrateful witch and that her grandkids moving will only happen over her dead body. They began exchanging harsher words and Liz snapped and told mom to butt out of the private matters that don't concern her and said that she had no right to decide things regarding the kids. Mom firmly told her that she was dead wrong and proceeded to tell her that she, as an involved grandmother, knows her rights and she will be taking Liz and me to court to ensure she still gets to see her grandkids. Liz was in shock. She looked to the left and saw me sitting there not saying or doing anything. She told me to check my mom, but I told her she was being unfair to mom and that mom had to feel upset because she was no longer able to see her grandchildren. I honestly told Liz that she was a bit selfish to not consider my mom's feelings and her crucial presence in the kids' life first. Liz started arguing with me, saying she couldn't believe I didn't stand behind her and defend her after hearing mom saying she'd get the court involved. I said mom was upset and cannot be blamed for her reaction. Liz started yelling at me, calling me unsupportive and an enabler, then went home with the kids, insisting my family is my problem and I should handle it, although this whole moving thing was her idea. The situation has not been resolved, and Liz and mom are getting more intense in their fights. I choose to stay out of it because both have valid arguments, but Liz has called me awful for not siding with her after seeing how mom spoke to her and being okay with the fact that mom was willing to cause us issues in court. So, am I the asshole for sitting back and doing nothing?